Hey, Vertigo listeners, welcome back to another episode. Thank you for tuning in. And let's talk a little bit about Air Healing and Wellness. That's EIR, Air Healing and Wellness. If you're not there getting a massage, relaxing, and rejuvenating, sitting in the sauna, or maybe even grabbing a bite at Deja Brew, then what are you doing? Let's go. 5752 U.S. Route 11, Pulaski, New York. That's Air, EIR, Healing and Wellness. You need to get there. Now on to the episode.
Old school. He looks like a radio. Yeah, I say that every one of my. I think I mentioned. Like when I got the headset on, I'm in the zone.
Hey, Vertical Nation, welcome back to another episode. I have my son Sean joining me today. How you doing, my friend?
What the fuck is up, man?
Yeah,
Feels
man.
good to be here.
I know, we
Sorry.
have it. Yeah, there you go, messing with the mics already.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm excited, to be honest with you, because I've actually wanted to do a one-on-one podcast with you on Vertigo. I know we've got to do it on Maple Talks. So I'm going to plug that real quick, actually, because one of the things that I wanted to start out in saying was I'm super excited about the local podcast community that's starting to take off. You know, you're doing it. Not that if there's other people that are doing it, I'm just unaware. So
Yeah, no, 1,000%.
You know what I mean?
You know, like I've been not looking, but I've been trying to see if there's anything local to try to connect with a couple more of them too. So, if there is any other local podcasts out there,
yeah,
let's get together.
I know it would be cool because one of the things. So I've been researching on how to grow your podcast since starting Vertigo. And one of the things that I'm really thankful for is I went back actually and started listening to some of the past episodes and specifically the pilot episode and really started thinking about like, what is the purpose of this? What am I really trying to do? And we were talking a little bit about before the mics, went live that really I see Vertigo as a place for people to be able to connect, whether it's stories like Ashley's, for example, that are obviously much more serious in nature and talking about really heavy topics we talked about. You know.
1,000%.
But at the same time, I also love listening back to like how the Grinch stole Vertigo. And even though there's some lighter moments in there, there's some stuff. It's about connecting, though.
Yeah.
We're all human.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like in the climate that we've been in since, I don't know, at least 2016.
I'll even say, I mean, just podcasts in general. To me, I mean, whether you have a main outline or whether you don't, it's just about conversation, man.
Yeah.
I had Andy on my podcast, a buddy of mine
Yep.
that will be coming out, and I did a podcast with him as well. And we just said the same thing, man. It's like so much fun to just get together with people that maybe you don't know or maybe you're like good buddies with, and it's just
Yeah.
an excuse to have a good conversation, man.
No,
it's a lot of
true.
fun.
No, it's true, and I think you're right, and that's one of the things I'm excited about seeing with the local podcast kind of scene. You've got Maple Talks. Andy has, what is his, Open Av and Elbow Room, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Elbow Room I haven't had a chance to tune into yet.
That's definitely more of a niche audience,
Yeah.
where Open Av is a normal podcast like
Yep.
yours or mine maybe, but Elbow Room is UFC based.
Which I did listen to his second episode of Open Av, so I was excited to see that he dropped a second.
Shout out Open Av.
Yeah, for real. So listeners, and the reason I'm kind of introing this and bringing this up is if you are interested in local podcasts and wanting to hear what people are kind of doing in the local scene, there's Vertigo, of course, that you're listening to, Maple Talks, Sean, who's here,
Yep.
With me now, and also Andy has got Open Av, and like we talked about, Elbow Room. You can find his on Spotify.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As of right now, I think only Spotify. He keeps his reel on the down low right now. I shouted out on my podcast, obviously, and this one too. And he's
it's about to blow up. Vertigo's got quite a few listeners now.
And he's like still learning, so he's not like advertising it yet because he's like, I want to get good at it. I want to learn what I'm good at, and and kind of learn the flow before I start really advertising it. And
no, I agree.
You know?
I agree with that stuff. It is true. It's definitely a learn as you go experience.
Oh, 1,000%.
You know?
That's part of the fun part too. You know, and
Yeah.
I think too, like one of the biggest, sitting down and having a conversation, at least to people who like to talk like you and I, is easy.
Yeah.
The hard part is finding the
agree.
scheduling time and getting people in here at a time that works for everybody.
Yep.
and staying on a schedule. So him and everybody else, I mean, is just that's the
Yeah.
number one thing, you know.
No, that is the tough part, especially because obviously this is a hobby. You know,
Yeah.
it's like it's you know, like anything.
This isn't our part-time or full-time job.
Right,
This is what we
yeah.
do when we have a minute to do so,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yep.
yeah.
And as much as I want to see it continue to grow, and I think that it's important to staying. I think it's what I've learned is it's important to stay consistent. It's important to know your audience and know what because they become part of their daily life in a sense.
Yeah.
You know, how many people like I know, for example, all right, so I'm going to say podcasting for me, listening to podcasts for me, right? I love, like when I'm at work, they get me through my work day.
Oh,
You know?
oh yeah.
Because you could pop your headphones in.
Oh,
you
yeah.
can get in, especially me. I do IT, so a lot of times I'm in remote sessions. I'm not necessarily talking to the client customer. You know, I'm just doing
Yep.
what I got to do to fix it. It's nice, you know. And I imagine for people who go to the gym, you know, they can go to the gym and they can listen to their podcast and so forth. So you become part of the daily routine. So I think consistency and all of that is very important.
And
you know?
in podcasting, when it becomes a certain amount of them, I mean, we're still early on, but like I listen to Joe Rogan and Theo Vaughn, and I listen to all these guys who I've listened to for years now.
Midas
and it's
Touch,
almost
I've been cluing into a little bit.
Who's that?
Midas Touch.
Yeah, I don't.
They're a little political, but they have episodes that aren't. It's
Yeah.
It's Colin Kaepernick's business partner, and his two brothers, the Masilas.
I don't want to
Masilas
get
brothers,
political here, you know, but
I don't want to get
if Colin
political
Kaepernick's involved, I don't really give a shit.
either. Okay. No, that's fair. That's fair.
And it's not, yeah, you know, and it's not even about his political views that much, but like him, I don't know, like I'm a NFL fan, so
yeah.
I don't know. He's been a
No, I
crybaby
understand.
in the NFL for a long time. Yet he still thinks he's a number one guy, and it's just he drives me nuts.
No, I get it.
but
I get it.
but anyway, what I was saying is like you listen to them for so long, it's almost like you know them personally, and
Yes.
you've never met them a day in your life because you hear stories that most of the time would be behind closed doors, and you learn about them just over the time. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's a cool thing about podcasting.
No, I agree with you.
It's like you have a million friends that you don't even know who they
I
are.
know. It's cool. I love it. I think it's a great medium, and I'm excited about doing it. So anyway, moving on from that, we'll get into the actual topic here. But for people who are listening, if, you know, my point is, if you're interested in supporting local podcasters, or if you're just interested in podcasting in general, there's definitely a local scene. Like I said, Maple Talks, shameless plug again, Open Ave.
You can plug it all you want.
Yeah, Open Ave, and of course Vertigo, which you're tuning into now. So, all right, for those who don't know, I am Sean's dad, where Sean is my son. I guess you could look at it.
yeah. Half full or
Right.
half empty, whatever.
That's
the
right.
fuck.
And so, you know, one of the things I wanted to talk about was to kind of stay in the Vertigo fashion is I was thinking about one of the things that I like that we do here on Vertigo is, you know, try and talk and connect with people. And I know that the episodes more often than not lately have had a more serious tone. So I'm kind of glad you're here because I think that it's okay to have a little some
Pretty much
laughs
what
and-
you mean is I'm the last person you'd have if you're looking for somebody serious.
No, that's not true at all.
No,
because,
and I'll tell you that's 1,000% true.
no,
because
no.
There's a podcast coming out for me coming up
Yeah.
after this comes or before this comes out, but it is far from serious. I'll just tell you.
Yeah,
that.
but that's all right. And so actually that's a good point. So if you're looking, why don't you talk real quick about tell the listeners what
All
Maple
right.
Talks
Yeah,
is
dude.
actually.
Yeah, fuck yeah. So Maple Talks is I started my brother Zach and I, who's been on here before,
Mm-hmm.
we started a podcast a long time ago. We're both listen to podcasts all the time and watch podcasts all the time. So we started one a long time ago called Keeping It Real. It only went on for, I think, 5 or 6 episodes. Really junky mics. Did it in my kitchen. But it introduced us into the fact of this is something we liked. And then we, after that, we are both also huge into the UFC. So we started a podcast called 13 Days Apart. And that was like the first podcast where it really like opened my eyes, like, oh, I like this. Not only do I really like this, people liked it, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
which is cool too. So then it's just, again, it's really hard scheduling, matching schedules, and Zach and I had slowly just fallen off because we couldn't get together. We both had young kids, still have young kids, and it's tough, man. It's really tough. And I was like, 13 Days Apart is kind of falling off, but I really still want to do this. So I started Maple Talks. And I had started the idea of Maple Talks, probably a year before anything even came out.
Right.
I had already started creating names and logos and stuff like that. And then I was out of work because my son was born. And I said, now's the time. I got this time. I'm out of work. I'm home. I'm going to start it up. So I started Maple Talks. And I do guests and I do solo. But the main part of Maple Talks, man, is just I'm a conversator, man. One of my favorite things to do is just sit down and talk. So that's really all Maple Talks is. There may be serious conversations. And to be honest, like the podcast coming out this Friday, or these listeners, I think it'll be the Friday before, we talk and it goes from mental illness to domestic violence to like, pranking your friends by pulling your nuts out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just the idea of my podcast is just to be as natural as you can and just have real conversation with your buddies or real conversation with whoever is in there. And some may be serious. Like I had a podcast with my sister-in-law that came out that was about she had really bad anorexia and recovered from it. And now is like a big into the gym. And then I have podcasts with like you where we just shot the shit. You know what I mean? And that's really all it is for me. It's just conversation. And if you listen to this and you like this podcast and this is your style here, Vertigo, you might not like mine, and that's okay because I cuss like a sailor. I talk about stories that maybe most people wouldn't want to tell, but then there is some episodes that you may enjoy. So,
yeah, I think that's the beauty of it, though. I think it's the beauty that you are covering it all. I think, and being a conversationalist, Vertigo, I think I just found my purpose. More age, because approaching 50, I just have this insight. For example, one of the things I wanted to talk about today was just, about happy moments that I've had with you, So I thought, one, it was so special being able to have you solo on the podcast because I think back and I reminisce, like we're at this cool spot in our relationship now where it's like, I get to have you as my pal, my best friend, and I really am enjoying that at this phase.
Hell yeah, man.
But I also think back about, it also makes you kind of think back about like all of the time and how quickly it goes by. And you'll get there at some point with Parker.
Yeah, I'm already
Max,
getting there.
But
you know what I mean?
It's just crazy how quickly time goes by with those moments. And I think of all the moments that we've had, and I'm sure I've almost, ashamed to say, forgotten more than I even remember.
Oh, that is one thing. Like, once you have kids, it goes even faster. And I could tell you that.
It's so true, doesn't it?
And like, I don't know. I graduated from high school in 2018, so 8 years ago, 7 years ago now.
Already.
Yeah, I mean, it flies by. I mean, I feel like I was a senior last year. You know what I mean?
Right.
And yeah, man, time flies.
And it's crazy because I just remember, especially when you sent me the pictures to do the Facebook kind of stuff. And I was looking back over some of those pictures, man, and I just remember like I remember the Harry Potter phase that you went through.
Yep.
Yeah, the Harry Potter glasses, man, you wore those things all the time.
Never took them off. That was my persona.
Yeah, and then, but I think, I always feel like there's all these great, memories, and I'm not trying to say that there are memories that are bad, but what I'm curious about now, and one of the things that we've never really talked about was how you were impacted by the separation and the divorce between Mom and I. And not that I want to get into the nitty gritty of actually what happened during the divorce, because that part doesn't really matter at this point. But I guess I'm more curious now, looking back, like, you talk about high school, and yes, I was there through high school, but you lived with Mom, and still had, we did vacations, but you came to me on the weekends, basically, you know, so, I don't know. I just wonder what that was like, I guess, for you.
Yeah. Man, I don't know. It was normal at some point. You know, like in the
Yeah.
beginning, it was weird, obviously. You don't know any different when you're young, but it just becomes normal life. You know what I mean? And you don't know any different at some point. But, yeah, I don't know. Like a young kid, you feel weird about it again. Like,
Yeah.
why or how or you know,
Yeah.
because obviously as a kid you don't see it, you just see your parents and you see happy parents and normal life. You don't see the struggles and real life shit behind the scenes, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, and rightfully so. It's supposed to be that way. The kids aren't supposed to know what stress is yet, you know what I
Right.
mean, or struggles are yet. And now that I look back, there's like signs that I could see now that I'm an adult, that I know what stress and struggle is, and go, oh, you know, I just was naive because I was young and I
Sure,
didn't know any
sure.
better. But yeah, you just think as a kid, you're like, you know, I remember like obviously there is a sad part where I'm like, you know, why, or this doesn't make sense, or I wondered, you know, like what is life going to be like now?
Yeah.
But then there's the other side of me that people always tell you like, oh, that means 2 Christmases, that means 2 birthdays, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And you're a kid, you know, like you don't have that same emotional intelligence that you do as an adult. So you're sad because you're supposed to be, but you don't really know why. Like, what's the
Yeah, that's
difference?
true.
Why? As a kid, you're like, why does it matter if my parents are together or not? You know what I mean? Because you don't know why you're sad, really. You just know everyone's kind of sad, and
Yeah.
it's a weird time for everybody. You know?
Yep. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, so my parents were divorced, but were divorced. They separated. I want to say I was older. I was 16, 17. So I was sophomore, junior in high school, you know?
Honestly, I think it'd probably be harder as an older teenager,
Why? Why do you think?
just because you understand so much more.
Yeah, it's a good point, I guess. I think that this is a tough one because I think also being that age, I feel like I understood that so you're talking about how there's a naivety with being young. Like you understand that people are sad and you understand that maybe things aren't good. Like you get
Yeah.
that feeling. Like there's
Yeah.
that heavy feeling.
You can
in
feel the
air.
vibe
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
air.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly. Yeah, thank you. And I think for me being 16, 17 years old, you have a different understanding of the world, and I could see things a little more clearly that maybe things weren't so
Yeah.
good,
Yeah.
between
Well,
my mom and dad. So
well-
I think there's a different level of awareness,
Well, maybe it wouldn't have been as. To be honest, like I was just talking about this with one of my buddies. Like when I was like 13, 14, 15,
Yeah.
16, maybe even, like I don't know. I was kind of not a shitty kid, but I just didn't give a fuck about anything other than myself, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like I cared about what I liked. And like I think, like Andy and I were talking about this on the podcast, like he felt like he was always worried about disappointing people in that stage of life. He
Yeah.
wanted to make his parents happy. He wanted to, make them proud. And for some reason, I didn't really give a fuck. And to a negative point, even like it was past, like some people they get depressed because they don't want to disappoint. They're always worried about that and they're self-conscious about that. Where I was on the opposite end of the spectrum. Like mom would be like, why aren't your grades good? And I'd be like, whatever. You know what I mean?
Where do
And
you
she'd
think
be
that
mad.
came from?
I loved my sports. I loved going to the skate park.
Yeah.
And other than that, like I couldn't be bothered.
Was there an intervention that you feel like you needed from either mom or myself at that point in time that would have helped? Or do you think that it was really just because of that was just how you as a teenager had?
Yeah,
were,
no,
you know
I
what
think
I mean? Like, was there a reason, I guess? And was there something that you needed? Was there because a lot of times I think people say when you have behaviors like that, you're screaming out for something. Like you're screaming out for some kind of help or attention. Do you feel like looking back on it now, was it anything like that, or was it?
I think
more...
I was just a bratty teenager who couldn't be bothered with
fair
anything but what I liked. You know what I mean? And I didn't care about disappointing my teachers because I didn't care about homework. I didn't care about disappointing mom because school doesn't matter. I'm going to the skate park after anyway. You know what I mean? Or I'm going to wrestling practice. Like
Right.
I I cared about what I cared about, and if I didn't care about it, then fuck it. It's not. It's not important to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
I do know. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean that's just how I was. And as an adult, I mean it got better, but I'm still kind of that way in a sense of like.
No, I think
like I care about people. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So because I care about people, then I do think about them. You know what I mean? And now I have more of that passionate feeling towards other people other than myself, especially after having kids. But yeah, I'm still like, I don't know. I think that, like, I think so many people are so worried about looking good to others that they do everything, even that they don't like. And I'm still at that phase where I'm kind of young and like, I don't care how other people think about me really. Other than the people who I love, you know what I mean?
Sure.
And if I don't care about it, then I don't know. If it doesn't affect me or my family in a healthy way, or it doesn't help the people I care about, then I don't really care.
Yeah. No,
And I think that's
I get it.
and I
get
don't
what you're
think, and
saying.
I'm not bragging about that. I don't think that that's necessarily a positive thing. You know what I mean? Most people have a little more compassion towards, people they see on the streets
Sure.
maybe or whatever, and I don't really have that. And maybe it's an issue. I don't like. Obviously, I go, oh, that fucking sucks. You know what I mean?
Well-
But I'm not like. I don't know. It's like,
Let me ask you
better
this.
them than me. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
no, I
And that's
hear ya.
shitty, but that's
No.
just the way it is.
But I think so. One of the things that I say a lot, and Minna and I have talked about this, like if there is a behavior that I possess, excuse me, and it is impacting our relationship in a negative way, then I feel like A, that needs to be brought to my attention, and B, then it really is up to me to then do something about that, right? But if it's not negatively impacting my relationship with Minna or my relationships in general, my relationship with you, my relations,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, of course.
If it's not impacting that in a negative way, then is it really something that needs to be course corrected? My argument would be like, no, not really. So like if you're I don't know if it's an attitude, behavior, whatever that, if that is what it is, but it's not negatively impacting your relationships with the people that are in your life, then I mean, is it bad?
You know
to
what?
say.
What I kind of think of is like, to be honest, that I think that more people are like me, that they're just afraid to say it because it does make you sound like a shitty person. You know what I mean? And I think so many people do things and say things just to please others.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Yeah, I just I don't really have that worry to please others. I'm worried about my family. I want to make my family proud.
Yeah.
I want to make you and mom proud.
And I am.
And
I hope you
other
know
than that, I don't really fucking care. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? If Joe Blow from down the street thinks I'm a shitty person, he doesn't know who I am, and
Yeah.
and fuck him anyway. You
Right.
know what I mean? And I don't hate person. I don't have hate for people or things. I just, if I don't care, then I just have that like meh kind of feeling
Yeah.
about it.
No, and I
And
think,
and
I
maybe
wish in some way I could be, I think, more like that, because I think when the opposite of that is worrying and caring so much that then you're impacted by every person's thought and or feeling, and that's really gets really heavy too, and that's really difficult.
For sure.
Yeah, it's difficult,
I
to
think
then-
that's why it was easy for me to start a podcast too, because I think a lot of people are, if they were to do this, they'd be worried about what they're saying or hurting someone's feelings. And by all means, I don't want to hurt people's feelings. I don't want to offend anybody. I don't want to impact anybody on a negative way. I just talk like me, whether it's in front of a mic, whether it's not, whether it's in front of you, in front of mom, in front of my buddies, in front of my family.
Yeah.
Like I cuss at home, I cuss at Walmart, I would cuss in an interview. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I am who I am.
Yeah, unforgivingly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I don't think.
and I don't want to hurt anybody, but that's why it was easy for me to start a podcast, because most people are worried about that type of stuff.
Yeah.
What if a job listens to this, or what if my mom hears this story from when I was young,
Yeah,
or
right.
what if these people think I'm a shitty person because of this story I told? And I don't know. Maybe
No.
I'm a psychopath or something,
No,
but
I
I
don't
don't have
think
it.
that at all. I don't think that at all. So rewinding back, you were talking about being 14, 15, right?
Oh yeah, I get
Yeah.
off topic
No.
super easy.
Hey, that's all right, man.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah,
No, but
bring me back. Rewind.
no, so you were talking about that at 14, 15, that you really just didn't care about school much. Were really just wanting to do what you wanted to do. But So are you saying that that's changed in some way?
I mean,
or are you
yeah,
just
for
saying
sure.
that was just, because that was obviously your attitude in high
Yeah.
school. And I get it.
Yeah.
Actually, I want to tell a quick story too. I get it because I think that part of the healing journey for me. So talking a little bit about my parents and when they divorced and being older, 16, 17 years old. It might have been 17. I don't remember exactly, but I also think though that there was a part of me that was like, I don't care what you guys do. Like
Yeah.
I care about, being a junior in high school. I had a car at that point. I could go and be with my friends. So for me, it was like that whole, well, fuck. I don't care.
mean, yeah, I guess now
you
that
do
I think
what you
about
want to
it.
do. I've got my own shit that I'm doing. So you do whatever the fuck you're doing. And
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Now that I think about it, yeah, I guess maybe that's true because I think that, like, as fucked up as this sounds, when you're 14, 15, 16, you don't appreciate your parents. You know what I mean? I don't think
No.
anybody does. And I think really your parents is just a place to stay and a place to eat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And as fucked up as that sounds, like, obviously I loved you and I loved Mom, but, like, I don't know. When you're young and naive and you're like that, I mean, you go to school. For me, it was you go to school, you go to sports, you hang out with your buddies, then you go home just to sleep and eat dinner.
Right.
And most of the time, I didn't even eat dinner. You know what I mean? Mom, once I hit like 15, 16, Mom just stopped making dinner because it was just her.
Yeah.
And Zach and I were always gone. And then when I got with Mary, I was always with Mary or with my buddies. Like,
Yep.
And I think being in a relationship young is what kind of flipped that attitude towards life, just because it's like the first time in my life I had to care about somebody else's feelings. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree. And I do think, reminiscing back, I think that is part of the teenage thing, though, too. Yeah, I do. That attitude in general. Because even though I think my belief is our personality is really starting to cement at that point. Like, our personality scientifically, I think, starts at age, like, I can't remember. It's young. It's like, I don't know if it's 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. It's like young, though, that your personality starts to form.
Yeah.
But then if you think about development, and then by the time you're in the high school ages, 14, 15, the ages that we're talking about, 14, 18, then you're really starting to become independent and you really are starting to become your own person. And yeah, so I absolutely agree. Your number one priority at that point in life isn't your parents, it's your friends and you. It's because you are now discovering, hey, I like doing this.
Yeah.
I don't want to do what you're telling me to do, right? That's that whole teenage rebellion thing.
Yeah, and I think too, like, I don't know, I went to therapy young. Mom put me.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, Mom put me into therapy. I was in therapy for like 2 or 3 years, and to be honest, therapy changed me a lot. But
did it?
Oh, 1,000. I say 1,000% all the time, but yeah, it changed a lot. But really, it didn't really start affecting me until I got a little older, and then I would think back to therapy. You know what I mean?
I got you.
And it did definitely help at the time because I think I was in therapy like 5th, 6th, and 7th grade.
Okay.
And then because of 7th grade, you're 12, 13 years old. That's when I stopped giving a fuck, and I was like, I'm not going to that anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I was a bastard of a kid. Mom sent me, and it was a blessing.
You're a bastard of a kid, though, like why? What was going on? Do you think it was because of the changes at home?
Oh, probably. I mean, yeah, you don't think about it then.
Yeah.
But I think, I think the changes, the divorce, the just going through puberty in general. I mean, people don't really talk about enough how, first of all, shitty kids are to each other in like middle school type years. I mean,
maybe you don't want to, and you can say pass if you want to.
I will talk about anything.
Did you experience bullying, if I remember correctly?
Not really. There was one kid that I always had issues with, but
was that middle school though? I was trying to think.
That was like elementary.
Was it? Yeah, because I do remember there was one particular kid, and we won't name him, but don't you wish sometimes you could just call that bastard out? No, but
he's a nobody still.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
The last time I saw him. Harborfest, everyone's at Harbor, and he was getting arrested, so it was like nothing's changed. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I just because of that feeling of not giving a fuck, people could have been mean to me, but it didn't affect me, so nobody was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's really all it was. People could have tried to hurt my feelings, but nobody could say something mean to me before I had already said it out loud.
Yeah.
You know?
No,
Like, what are you
and
gonna
that-
say? That I got little eyes, I'm chunky and short, and you know what I mean? I don't.
Yeah.
Fuck you. I don't care.
Right.
You know. So what? That I'm chunky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I
know-
never really cared. I never really. I'm lucky. I'm fortunate, and I'm saying that maybe in a way where it sounds ignorant, but yeah, a lot of people are self-conscious. I've never been self-conscious about me or my body or anything about me.
See, that's
I've
great.
never been embarrassed or ashamed of myself in any way, even on times where I probably should be.
Yeah.
And because of that, I've never got bullied or I mean, kids were mean. And puberty is hard. I mean, going through,
Yeah.
you're
talk
trying
about
to
that.
you're
Talk
trying to
about that.
figure out. It's probably easier for me to remember. You're an old bastard. It wasn't that long ago for me. No, puberty's hard. You know, things are changing. You're starting to realize you care more about yourself. You're starting to look at things different. You're starting to look at women differently. You know,
Yep.
when you're young, you like girls are just more friends. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And then you get to an age where you're like looking at girls a little sexually. You know what I mean? And
Yeah. Things start to change.
you start to like, yeah, you start to look at girls like girlfriends and not friends.
Yep.
You start to look at your friends like your boys. You know what I mean? You're
Yep.
starting to like learn about everything naturally. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, I think that time is just naturally hard for a lot of people, and I think it's probably good for a lot of kids that age to go to therapy because there's a lot of things that you need to talk about that you're not going to talk about your parents
Right.
with your parents. You know what I mean? You're
No,
not going to
I
talk about
agree.
with your parents about like you're trying to focus in math class, but you can't stop staring at boobs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But really, that's most boys that age.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're just not going to tell their mom, I'm trying to focus in math class, but this girl's tits are out. You know what I
Right.
mean? And they're not out. She's wearing a hoodie, but for some reason,
No,
it's just when you're that age, it's hard. You know what I mean? You're going through so many changes at once. You're trying to like learn yourself. It's weird. It's a weird stage. You know?
It is, and I get what you're saying. And so do you think then that therapy that helped?
Yeah, therapy helped me a lot. I just didn't realize it until I got a little older.
Right.
I think
I
that
think that's the
therapy
cool thing
helped
about
me
therapy.
cope with a lot of things
Yeah.
that I didn't know how to cope with before. And at the time being, when I was in middle school, this old lady was telling me how I should cope with my feelings, and I was like, "The fuck is coping with your? You know what I mean? I'll throw.
Yeah,
I
well.
just throw shit when I'm mad, and that makes me feel better.
Right.
You know." And then like a couple years, and I was like, would start to think back, like, oh, you know, no, what she says makes sense.
That's kind of the interesting thing I think about therapy, to be honest with you, is it never clicks, at least for me. It didn't click until later. You know, it was maybe in even some cases years later. It was years later when it was like, oh,
Yeah.
I get it now.
I think that's so many people now go straight to medicine or
Yeah.
straight to whatever. And the thing if medicine helps, by all means, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But the
absolutely.
shitty part about medicine is you could take an antidepressant and it's going to help for the time being. But if you stop, it's not going to help anymore.
Right.
Where therapy you could do 2 years of therapy and it might help you forever.
Yeah.
Because it's always it's knowledge, you know what I mean? It's knowledge based, and if you don't forget it, then and maybe you'll have to jump back in it every once in a while. But yeah, I think therapy was really good for me.
And I also think that is something that definitely your age group is more in tune with than mine was.
Yeah, I mean you
You
can't
know.
watch a video without seeing an ad for BetterHelp now.
Yeah, which is true.
You know?
And I think that's better. I think it's great that we're paying more attention now to our mental health, because when I was a kid, I grew up, I think, in what they call like the Prozac era, where parents and probably even older teenagers, they just did what you were talking about. They just prescribed medication. So it's like, oh, you're not feeling quite yourself, or you're suffering a little bit from some depression. Here, we'll give you some Prozac, you know. And I think it's great now that the conversation is more like, hey, you're struggling a little bit. That's normal. Why don't we get you talking to somebody? And not that medications can't help, but I think that it has to be coupled with therapy. Like if you're going to be on a medication for mental health, I also think then you should be doing therapy. That's just my personal opinion.
I think my general age group now is starting to look at like mental health as like before it was like, you know, like especially for men, you know, like you're depressed, you pussy.
Right.
You know what I mean? And now it's like your mental health is health. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's definitely a lot more looked at now.
Yeah, because I think you're right. We never really took it serious.
And because nobody ever talked about it before, when people did feel some type of way, they thought they were alone. Where now it's realized, let's be real, I'd say 100% of the people in the world go through some sort of something at some point. Everybody gets stressed to a point where it gets depressing. Everyone gets to a point in their life where they got something going on and they're down on themselves. Like,
Absolutely.
everybody goes through it. Just back then, nobody talked about it. So that everyone felt like they were going through it alone.
Yeah.
You know, and now it's like, if you haven't felt some sort of depression at some point in your life, maybe not chronic depression, but if you haven't felt some sort of, it probably means you haven't took any risk. You know what I mean? You haven't left your house.
Let me ask you this. So are you saying then so you're 25?
24, be 25, yeah.
Yeah. So are you saying then that your age group now, like, the stigma has changed around mental health? Because I remember a time when mental health was, like you said, very much picked at, especially for men. Like, and I guess I'm trying to figure out if that stigma has changed or not, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's part of, I think, Vertigo too, is I want, it's kind of investigating for me. Like, have things really changed in the conversation about mental health?
So,
Is there still a stigma that exists, especially for men? Like, I don't know.
I mean, yeah, it's weird to talk about your feelings, especially with other people. So I think that's still there, but I think the stigma has definitely changed.
Why is it weird, I guess, though? That's what I'm trying to, like, why is
It's
it
vulnerable, I think. You know what I mean? It's like showing your enemies your weak points, and I think a lot of people, I mean, survival instinct, you know what I mean? You're my father, but
Yeah.
5,000 years ago, survival was survival. You know what I mean? And if I showed you my weak points, maybe you'll kill me and eat me. You know what I mean? And I think
No,
we
I understand. There is
we
that.
have that survival instinct where we don't want to show people our weak points. Everybody wants to look strong. Everybody wants to look like nothing can break them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just think that's all it is.
When I was in school, they called that the snake brain. That there is this part of our brain that is still, I guess, for all practical purposes, prehistoric in a sense.
There's
you
like
know?
that picture of like the snake biting itself, you know, thinking that it's every time it bites harder, it thinks that, ow, this hurts. It doesn't know why, so it bites down harder, trying to fight this thing, but it's itself, you know. And that's really how humans are, you know. And yeah, I think the stigma is getting a lot more people are willing to talk about it now, and I think a lot more people are willing to say, no, like, listen, we've all been through shit. You know what I mean?
No, I know. One of the things, and I actually use it a lot on this podcast, I think, if you've listened to the last few episodes, I know it's come up at least a couple of times where I have kind of stolen your verbiage of the worst thing you've been through is the worst thing you've been through. And so you can only identify with people by, as far as traumatic experiences at least, or upsetting experiences, by what you've gone through yourself.
Yeah, and I heard that from Joe Rogan. But Joe Rogan was like, the worst thing you could have been through is almost getting eaten by a tiger in the jungle. The worst thing I could have been through is my parents' divorce. But we still don't know. They still are like the same in the sense of it's the worst things we've been through.
It's traumatic.
Everybody is trying to compare themselves. And I think that is one thing that's wrong with this generation. Everybody's like, oh, yeah, you had it bad? Well, I had it worse. And it's not a fucking competition. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This isn't a competition to who had the worst life.
Right.
There's no, you know what I mean? I think everybody's trying to, and again, I think that comes down to looking stronger, you know, like, oh, you've been through shit. No, I've been through it worse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, you got a little boo-boo. Well, one time I broke my arm. You know what I mean? And I think that, again, that's just that survival competition instinct that we have. I don't think that will ever go away.
No, I think you're right. I think that, and really, what's the goal? The goal is to constantly be better, you know? And so there are always going to be things that we have to work on. And there are things that we have to work on in solidarity, and there are things that we work on as humans, as a group of people, you know? So I think you're right.
I really kind of do believe so much in, like, instinct, like natural instinct. I mean, you got to realize humans have been around for a long, long time. And I don't think humans are meant to be as close as they are now. Like, you go to, like, big cities, that's way too many people for a small, small space. You know what I mean? Like, you go to New York City, they're gonna be like, that's why you go to New York City, they're all dicks. You know what I mean? Because everybody there is fighting for something. You know what I mean? Because there's only so much space and so many people that they all have to fight for. So they're all assholes. You know what I mean? Because they all look at each other like,
you're taking something
yes,
away from me.
They're in the way of something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you go into the country and people are much more peaceful and happy because they have everything they need to survive. You know, like if New York City, if there was an apocalypse right now, but everybody in New York City survived, they're going to start to go to the country.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, that already happened during COVID.
Yeah. I mean, you look at that too. Yeah. And it's like, because those people know they can't survive there. And I feel like that's part of the reason that a lot of them are dicks.
Yeah. No, you're right.
And I'm sure there's great people that live in New York City, by the way. Obviously, I'm not saying every person who lives there is a prick, but like the majority of them are kind of assholes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I hear what you're saying. I mean, my family is from New York City, so going to New York City, there is definitely a different vibe because I grew up in the country. I mean, I grew up here, you know, so I definitely got to see both sides of the coin, and I think that I think you're speaking truth to a lot of it too. You know, I think that there is an innate. So what I'm hearing you saying is there's an innate part of our humanness that it's not necessarily a stigma. It's that there's an innate part of our humanness that shows through. So it's not necessarily people being picked on for being male as much as it's the innate part of our brain that hangs us up. Is that am I paraphrasing that right?
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, I think that's the reason that still a lot of people don't talk about it, even though it is so much more talked about now. It all comes down to that same thing, like they can't look weak. I think that's just survival instinct, you know what I mean?
Interesting.
I mean, again, you look at like an animal that if they get beat up, they're not going to lay there and die. They're going to still fight and look strong and puff their chest because that survival instinct says, if I just lay down, this animal's going to eat me. And obviously in humans, we're not going to eat one another, but
hopefully not.
No, you know, I mean, some might.
Yeah, I guess there's some cannibals somewhere along the way.
But really it comes down to like, if this person sees a weak point, they'll be able to attack me. Not physically, obviously, but like, I mean, sometimes physically too, but yeah, more of like, or go for their job or you know.
So let me bring it back to.
But there's worse stigmas now.
What do you mean?
Like, everybody's trying to, like, no, yeah, we talk about mental illness so much more.
Yeah.
But if you talk about how you feel in a way that's not maybe politically correct or not to the same ideal as others, you get attacked. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a lot of attacking on, and I think that's one of the reasons. So I'm just going to say this. I think one of the reasons I stay out of the political ring on this podcast is for that very reason. There's no winning. There's no winning, and at the end of the day, we're arguing over opinions. We're not arguing over facts necessarily. We're arguing over people's opinions, and what your values and morals are may be different than mine, and who am I to tell you that you're wrong, just as much as who are you to tell me I'm wrong? And so I feel like those are areas where there's enough arguments that happen about that, and there's enough,
and not even just politics. If you say if like there was this whole thing about this dress that some people saw it white and gold and some people saw it blue and black. I don't know if you remember that.
I don't remember that.
But it was like a big thing that everybody was like legitimately arguing about. But it's just based off your preference of how you look at things, based off how you see the colors.
Yeah.
And people were like, "Oh, these fucking idiots! It's blue and black." And these other, no, it's not. It's fucking white and gold. And the truth is, I don't think it's either of them. I think it really come down to like it wasn't neither color.
Right.
It's just the way people
remember this.
Yeah.
Faintly remember this.
People will argue about everything. You know what I mean?
It's true.
And if you are on the opposing side, instead of just being like, no, you know, agree to disagree, it's like you're shitty.
And why is that so hard? Like, I think that's one of the things that like I struggle with the most is and this is where I think that so I try really hard to find either A, the win-win, or B, where is the common ground? Where can we agree? And then let's start there. And then I feel like there's almost criticism, well, like you're one of those middle of the road people, like you're just, and it's like, no, I'm just trying to figure out where we agree and where I can connect, because I feel like if we can do that, then we have common ground to stand on together, and then it's not an argument anymore, it's a discussion.
Yeah, I think again everyone just gets defensive and it becomes an argument now.
Automatically.
A lot of people, and that I believe a lot of relationships now too. Like I'm pretty lucky. Mary and I got together young. We learned each other. We were young, shitty kids, and we argued a lot when we were young. But as an adult or as humans, you learn to communicate. And I think a lot of people don't have that communication skill.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that is because social media and texting. You know what I mean? You could, if you and I got in an argument. If I was at your house for the weekend and you and I got in an argument, we had no choice but to sit there and figure it out. Where a lot of couples now, they text about it. And they'll text, and they don't have to look each other in the eyes, or like Facebook arguments and that type of shit. It's like that, it's that social media type of.
And I think so.
And I don't believe social media is all bad. I just think that is one negative part about it, is that it stops face-to-face interaction.
Yeah.
And it stops you, like if, like all these people who argue on Facebook, you're a shitty person, you're a bad, you put these same people in a setting like this, they'll have a normal discussion. Right. I guarantee it will be a very safe, good environment. But on Facebook or on Instagram or whatever, they're attacking each other. But you put them face to face where they have to look at each other, they're going to be better people.
Right.
And they're going to have real conversation and real communication, or they won't talk at all and they won't do it.
Right.
And I think that's another thing about podcasting that's amazing. It's forceful to have this. I have to look you in the eyes. You're sitting directly across from me.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm not going to sit here and talk shit to you and argue with you because I have to look at you. Luckily, I'm closer to the door so I can run faster. But
yeah, I'm going to say this in jet. So when do you think things really started to change for you at that 14, 15-year-old who kind of had this attitude? So, because now listening to your conversation, you're, have gained this wisdom, you've gained this insight, and when do you feel like that really started to happen?
I think everybody has this type of mentality. They just haven't found it yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get to an age, and I think it's usually older people. I really am kind of like an old soul kind of guy.
Yeah.
I don't really care to argue. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and some people they like that. It gets them fired up. And that's just not what gets. You get to an age, I think, and I just hit it early where I'm like, I don't have the brain capacity to deal with these fucking people.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
No,
and
I'm with you.
And I think that I think it got to a point where, again, I think it stems from that same thing where it's like I don't give a fuck. Where if you and I don't agree, I don't care if we agree or not. And if I'm friends with you, if you and I have different political views or different religious views or whatever, I can look past it because I don't care what the fuck you believe in. You know what I mean? If you and I can find a common ground, whether it be UFC or podcast or the fact that we like the color green, I don't care about.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I don't want to hang out with bad people. You know what I mean? But when it comes to opinion-based shit, I don't fucking care what you believe in.
No, that's what I was saying, too. That's what I was saying. Like, I think it's good to find where's the common ground because then we can build on that.
I think
that's what I hear you saying.
The world is so divided right now,
Yeah.
well, especially the U.S., between red and blue and black and white and gay and straight. And it's like I think that so many people have so much shit in common, they just don't talk about it because they're too busy arguing about the opposing shit.
No,
you know what I
agree with
mean?
you.
We're all humans. We all have gone through similar life experiences, yet we're arguing about what your preference of relationship is.
Yeah.
Or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's all fucking stupid.
No, it's crazy. And to think where those attitudes all come from and where along the line have we forgotten about people being people too? There's just this air now that I can just say what I want to say and fuck your feelings and what,
Well,
I can just say it. And I feel like that's not okay either.
I hate to sound ignorant, but people aren't used to getting punched in the face anymore. You know what I mean? If in school somebody walked up to me and said, "Your mom's a slut," he's getting punched. you know, and now they could say it through text and I'll never know who it is. And I'm not saying I'm some tough guy. I'm saying in general, you know, like back in the day, especially back in your time, if you said something, you had no choice but to see them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because there was no texting. What are you going to do? Send them a letter in the mail?
Well,
you're still going to have to see them again. You know what I mean?
I think what you're really saying is there's accountability, right? I can't, you're right. There's people now who are keyboard warriors and they can type out and say whatever they're going to say and never have to take ownership of that. They said it, they press enter or send, whatever. It goes off. I don't have to own that. If I've got to look at you and I've got to confront you about it or talk or, you know, whatever,
even
stand
if
in
it's
front
not,
of you.
even if it's not physically.
Right.
Even if I said something that you don't like, I still have to stand here, look you in the eyes, and have a discussion about it at the very least. You know, you could say, hey, did you say this? And that's still nerve-wracking. If somebody walks up to you and you know they're upset, it's still nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
There is no consequences to what people say. And I think that that's why so many people argue about shit. Because, it's like if you and I went to school together and we were seniors in high school and you were a Democrat and I was a Republican, nobody cared enough to talk about it because it's not worth the argument, the in-person argument.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where now it's like easy to sit at home, you're bored, you got nothing to do, you got no life. Let's argue, you know? And
so people, it's a cure for boredom is what it sounds like.
I think
at least
so.
in your opinion,
I think
it sounds
so.
like that. It's a cure for boredom. The
Yeah.
reason that people try to stir the pot, the reason that people are doing what they're doing is because they're bored.
Well, yeah, I think a lot of people don't have hobbies anymore.
Yeah.
So many people, their hobby is being on their phone. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying it's all negative. Again, I have an iPhone. I'm on my phone often too. I'm part of this generation. But I do think that like you know, this is a hobby, or playing guitar is a hobby. And if you notice, the people who are really heavy into hobbies aren't usually the people who are arguing on Facebook.
Yeah. No, you're right.
It's the people who their hobby is their phone.
No, I think you're right. And why I think that this is so important, and I don't mean this necessarily as Vertigo or, you know, podcasting, but this as far as conversations. Conversations are important, and there is still a place for those to happen. And I think if we just took the time to really try to connect and listen, I think that's the other problem. We don't listen. We're so
everybody's ready to type their side of the argument back that they don't read what the other person says.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, it's true.
And they're so, like, you could be telling a story, but I'm so worried about telling my story that might one-up you that I didn't even listen to what you said.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, you're right. You're right. It's crazy. Yeah, I never really thought about that. But maybe I have, because hence Vertigo. And not to keep bringing it back to that, but you kind of hit on all of the things that I have been thinking about, I think, in the creation of this and building this space, even though I didn't really build this space.
Yeah,
but, you know.
yeah, I get this virtual space or whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, and just a quick shout out. The studio you had a part in putting this together. This is pretty
not really.
incredible.
My part was to keep it a secret.
Yeah,
really.
Well, you did a good job on that.
Yeah,
and,
some of us are actually good at keeping secrets.
Oh yeah, I know. I don't know. Now, see, that's a mental health thing, I think, because I've thought about that, because it's funny, because obviously Min's birthday is today.
That's why I didn't tell you we were all coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I knew that you'd be like, oh, they're all coming. Right. It's a little more fun. Surprises are fun. You know what I mean?
And they are. And I am not, and I don't know what it is about that. That's definitely something I probably need to explore. But yes, I'm very bad
you know
at
what,
keeping
though?
secrets.
I think that everyone's like, everybody has negative things. And I think keeping secrets isn't that, like, keeping surprises. You know what I mean? You're not telling people their deepest secrets.
Right. No, I hear
like
what you're
keeping
saying.
surprises to, like, not being able to, you don't have to explore everything. You don't have to, like, I think that's another thing that why mental health is so important now is because everybody is trying to be that perfect human being.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's necessary either. Like, some people may think I'm shitty because of what I said earlier, that, like, the homeless guy I don't give a fuck that much about, you know? And I would love to sit down and have a conversation with that guy, because then I would have a connection with him.
Right.
And I'd probably would care about him.
Yeah.
But, you know, like, him just sitting there and I just see him with the sign, like, I'm not compassionate in that way. But if I sat down and I'll sit down and have a conversation with anybody, and then as soon as I sit down and have that conversation, I will be much more compassionate once you learn their story, you know. But yeah, like that visual compassion. I don't really have.
No, and I get it, and I don't think
I don't know. I don't know how I got back to this. Sorry.
No.
I know I'm fucking up your outline. Probably.
You're not. No. Listen. Hey, listen. Here's the thing. In all honesty, right? This is perfect in my opinion, and just a little behind the scenes. So I'm going to let the listeners in a little bit on behind the scenes. Yes, I do come into Vertigo with an outline and come into it with some thought. Also, though, I feel like my job as the host is really just to guide the conversation. And if there's points in the conversation that are coming up that are interesting, then let's go there. And so there's a little behind the scenes magic that the outline matters, but only so much because it's not like we're completely off topic. Sure, we're not deep diving into the divorce. However, maybe that topic didn't have as much of an interest as what it led to. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for you and I, you mean? Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think that.
You know what I mean?
Like, yeah.
So obviously, in my opinion, I came in wanting to hear how the divorce may have impacted you, but maybe the truth of the matter is it didn't impact you in the way that I thought. But what it did do was give you insight into some other areas, like, hey, I ended up going to therapy, and from therapy I learned all of this, which we've been talking about. And so for me, that's much more important. So I'm peeling the curtain back. You guys can now see the wizard, I guess, a little bit.
Like I do it a little differently. So I don't usually have much of an outline, but also like I'm such a natural talker.
Yeah.
That like some people who have been on my podcast were like, "What if I don't know what to say?" It's like, trust me, I won't run. I promise you, I will not run out of shit to say.
No, I know. No, and I'm the same way. You and I share that commonality, and I think that's where I like. So again, out of professionalism. Because one of the things about doing this is to consistently get better at doing it. So I have tried to make sure that I have some focused topics so that we're not all over the place.
Yeah, of course.
But at the same time, your story is your story. And to me, that's important. What you have got to say is important. And so I'm hearing that you have some very personal attachments to some of these thoughts and some of these ideologies and how things are happening. And I can learn from that. Listeners can learn from that.
Yeah.
And to me, that's more important than maybe sticking to the topic and talking about how the divorce impacted your life when maybe it really didn't.
Yeah. And I think, too, if you try to stick too much of an outline, it becomes more of an interview rather than a conversation.
Yeah. And I'm definitely not an interviewer.
No, me neither, dude. Yeah. Because I'm such a talker, I'm a terrible interviewer. You know what I mean? I'll be like, so how's your life? By the way, let me tell you this story about me. You know what I mean?
I agree. I think, like, for me, I think that, I'm a conversationalist. I think you and I share that, I don't know, that trait or whatever, that personality trait. I am very interested in hearing people's perspective. That's what I think I am. It's all kind of coming into focus. I am very, very interested in hearing people's perspectives on life and on, family and, that's what it is to me. I'm just very interested in that. I'm very interested in hearing what people have to say and what their story is.
Yeah, I think that we're just like Andy and I talked about it the other day. Like anytime we do anything, like we'll hang out to go golfing or golf in the garage or to get some, like we'll just chop firewood together or whatever. Most of the time, it becomes more of a conversation than anything else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what I enjoy. Like I remember, like Zach and I, who I'm obviously very close with. Like we used to like go to the kitchen to get food, and then we'd end up just sitting out there for like 2 hours because we'd get into a conversation that was all over the place. But all of a sudden we're out here and it's like 3 a.m. We're like, what the? And that's what made us start a podcast is we were like, dude, we have without a microphone, we've recorded thousands of hours of podcast. Why not let people listen in?
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean?
No, I agree with you. That's kind of what it is. And I feel like it's not for everybody, and so some people get it and they tune in and they listen and they get it, and others don't, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Like also, like I talk about this on my podcast a bit, but
I got to get new mic stands, huh?
No, I don't mind it. I could sit back. I don't care about dragging it around.
Well, no, if I can, real quick, and I'll let you
Yeah, go
finish
ahead.
your thought. But I think that's one of the. I think I do because after doing those the episodes with Ashley, which go back and listen to Ashley's journey, part 1, and New Path Forward. But I did notice, as far as production wise, that these mics, because I had 4 people in the studio, I've got to try to do something. There was a lot of picking up, so the production.
Mm.
I don't want to say it wasn't good. It just isn't where I wanted it.
Yeah,
but,
I can't sit still. That's all
Yeah.
it is with me.
So anyway, but
Yeah.
go to your thought.
I don't know. Even remember? Do you remember what I was saying?
Nah, probably not because I interrupted you.
No, you're good. You're good. I don't remember what I was saying.
So what do you think? All right, so let's in closing.
It'll come back to me, I'm sure.
What are some of the most memorable moments that you have had from childhood to now? Like, what are some of the core memories that you have? And I know we've talked a little bit about them. They've come up on Maple Talks, but just kind of because I got you in the room and it's kind of fun to talk about. But like, what are some of the core things that you remember? What are some of the best memories you think?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I have like a steel trap for a brain.
Me too.
And
You
I
get that. Yeah, we share
remember everything. I remember everything.
Okay.
I don't know why, but not everything. Obviously, there's an age where I don't remember shit early on, but yeah, I have a really good memory.
Me too.
And I don't know why, but I do Sudoku puzzles and stuff like that. I think that helps.
Yeah.
But
I've
yeah, I
heard
do
that,
a
I've
lot
heard
of
that.
like even I like a normal person my age, I spend time on my phone, but mine's not as much. I play like stupid games, word puzzles and shit like that on my phone.
Stuff though.
Yeah, I
love
just
that stuff.
yeah, that's but man, like just for me, like the main one I remember like think of is all just with my friends. You know what I mean? We used to like this was after you and mom got divorced because I was older, but like middle school, early high school, we'd get all my friends over. Like mom's house was the central. Everybody went to mom's house. Zach and I were there too, so like everybody came. It was like semi in the country, semi in the city. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Off, so there was property. So we played kickball, we played baseball, we'd play football, we'd play basketball. At night we'd play manhunt on like the entire block. We'd have paintball wars and BB wars and build ramps in the yard and in the driveway. That's like a lot of my memories that I think of a lot is just me and all of our friends just always hung out at my house and
Yeah.
manhunt and I
Speaking
mean
of
we built a
manhunt.
lot of sketchy fucking ramps for scooters and
I
skateboards.
remember you guys doing
yeah,
that.
we always did.
Speaking of manhunt, do you remember at the Oswego house playing manhunt with Seth?
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
and then Chan, our cat,
Yeah.
got out and like we had to go on a literal manhunt.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Oh my god. All I can remember is Seth like running behind like other people's houses.
Oh
like,
yeah, I mean you
and
know
that's
how
how he
Seth,
got his name Chan, because if you remember, he actually was named Salem.
yeah.
But what happened was, I can't remember if it was Min or Seth, but they were chasing him through because we had just got him, so we
Yeah.
didn't know if he would be an outdoor cat, if he would come back. Like, if we had just adopted this cat, so we didn't know. Like, oh my god, is this cat like gone now?
Yeah.
But anyway, is Seth or I can't remember if it was Min or Seth were like, oh my god, the guy, he's a ninja. He moves like Jackie Chan. Remember
that? Yeah.
And then he just started being called
I
Chan.
mean, if you know Seth, which obviously the listeners don't, I mean,
we
Seth-
gotta have him up and get him on the podcast.
dude, I mean, everything to him is a mission, man. He's
Yeah.
serious.
He listens.
Does he?
Yeah, yeah.
Good for you.
He
Shout out
texts-
Seth.
He texts every.
Love you, bro.
Yeah, we do love you, man. And he texts either every Sunday night or Monday morning. I wake up to a text that he had just listened to the episode and whatnot. So he's
Yeah,
a
he-
huge. So yeah, but
Fucking
I just
Seth.
when you were talking about manhunt,
If you need a job done, or if you need something done, you tell Seth it's serious. He locks in, dude.
he goes higher, doesn't he?
Yeah. He's a real life superhero, that man.
I'll never forget.
Dude, can I tell you a story about Seth real quick? I think I told you
yeah,
this story,
yeah,
but
please do.
So, he is he doesn't have his driver's license, at least at this time that I talked to him. I don't know if he does now, but he was calling me and he was telling me that he was part of the fire department wherever he lives.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, no shit, that's awesome, yada, yada. And I'm like, so what do you do when the thing goes off? He goes, well, I go to I go to the fire department. I hop in the truck with the guys, and we go. And I said, well, you don't have a car. How do you get there? He said, what do you mean? I said, if there's an emergency, how do you get there fast? He goes, Shawnee, I fucking run. I said, oh, you run? He's like, oh, yeah, I run. And I could just see him, hands open, the Flash style running full speed. Like, you know what I mean?
He gets it done, man.
Oh, yeah.
He gets it done.
He's legit,
Oh,
too.
my God.
I think he's, like, actually, last I talked to him, he was, like, getting his certificates and everything to, like, actually.
Yeah.
Like, I know before he was, like, backline or whatever. I don't know the technical terms for the volunteer
right.
fire departments are, but he was, like, backline, and now he's, like, getting up there to the point
No,
where he can go in and fight the fires. And
he's doing it. He's doing it.
for
Very
him,
proud.
man.
Yeah, because
that's his type of shit, though.
he's always loved, like, police, fire. Yeah,
He will put himself in danger to save somebody. Man.
He will, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he will. He's he's an incredible person.
And he will come out hands up.
Yes, he will, man.
I'm the fucking man. Yeah. Give me the praise. I did that shit. Open the fucking chest. He's got some Superman costume on.
Oh, man.
He's a real life superhero.
We got to get him up here. We got to get him up here and get him on the mic, man. Definitely. That would be a great podcast, right?
Oh, yeah.
Get Seth up here, man. Seth, if you're listening to this episode, first of all, thank you so much, and we love you, buddy. We miss you, man. And he's going hard. He's doing good with the fire department and whatnot. But any thoughts? There was something I was going to say before we wrapped up, actually, to be 100% honest with you, but
you were asking about core memories.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
and then we got on the manhunt thing. Yeah. We got on the Chan. Yeah.
Yeah, like also we had a pool growing up, so just in the summer everybody came over to swim in the pool. Yeah, family barbecues, that type of. Yeah. I mean, I have lots of individual memories. We could sit here all day and talk about those, but yeah, just mostly just my friends coming over. That's like a lot of my core. That's like what I think about most. You know what I mean? I have the memory, like, you know, the other shit that I have. Excuse me. Memories from everything.
Waterloos will do that to you.
Yeah, they're good though. But yeah, I have memories of everything. But yeah, I think like the main ones are just my buddies coming over and fishing, going to the skate park. I mean, I spent from 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th grade. I would get home from school, grab my scooter, grab my skateboard, immediately go to the skate park every single day. Yeah. So, like, I spent a majority of those years, legitimately every single day. I mean, that's why I quit sports.
Yeah, I was going to say, I remember that it was almost a fairly regular thing going and picking you up from the skate park.
Oh, yeah. I mean, most of the time I just rode home, but yeah, every day I was there.
Yep.
At our local skate park.
Yeah. Well, and I remember going and watching you skate as well, too. You know, I remember going and watching you guys.
Yeah, you bought me like my first real skateboard for my birthday at Plan B from Destiny at Zoomies, and then we went to Mexico Skate Park, which is no longer there. But
that's right.
Yeah.
I forgot about that, man. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Because I always had like hand-me-downs from my brother. Like Alec skateboarded, but never like got as serious as I did.
That's right.
But so I always had the hand-me-downs from him.
Yeah.
And then like you bought me my first like own real skateboard, which was a Plan B, the Ryan Sheckler
That's
Plan
right.
B.
Why did I thought it was a girl board for some reason. Mm-hmm. It was a Plan
I can
B.
picture it right now, like gray and black camo.
Yeah.
The Plan B logo was purple, yellow, and green.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And then when we went to Universal.
Did you have a girl board?
At one point I did, yeah.
Okay, that's where that memory's coming.
I had so many.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then when we went to Universal, I'd bought a Nyjah Houston board.
Oh, see, I think I must have forgot about that.
Yeah.
But I remember, scootering and skateboarding was that therapy in a sense?
Oh, yeah, dude. All my buddies, we just went to the skate park, and I mean, the biggest thing is it was a competitive sport for me, not in the sense of wrestling or soccer was, but yeah, I mean, it was more of competitive against myself. So like every day I was working on a new trick or
that's true,
working on something new. And I mean, not to toot my own horn, but I got pretty damn good.
You were good.
And
you were very good.
Still, I mean, I still go to the skate park sometimes as an adult and still tear it up.
Do you really?
Yeah.
That's incredible, man.
I mean, once, maybe twice, 3 times a summer, but.
Yeah, but still.
Yeah.
Remember boxing, too.
Oh yeah, of course.
That's one of the things I think I miss the most, actually. I miss the physical component of it, but I also just miss the, I don't know. I just love being in the gym, I think, in that capacity. I'm not one to go lift weights and run on treadmills, but a wrestling gym, a BJJ gym, boxing gym, love that shit, man.
That's like another thing for me. I was the same way. I never really, like, going to the gym was always boring, but I was at the skate. I mean, I burned, I don't know how many calories a day at the skate park.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like some people go to the skate park and they mainly hang out. Like me and my buddies, we were very serious. So like, we wouldn't sit for more than 5-10 minutes at a time at the most. You know what I mean? It was like we were constantly going. So I mean, I wouldn't eat dinner. You know what I mean? So I was just constantly burning calories there. I'd bring Cliff Bars usually, a couple Cliff Bars, and go to the skate park. They opened at 4, closed at 8. I'd be there from 4 to 8. We'd actually get there at 3 o'clock and all skate out front for an hour before they opened.
Yeah, that's right. Is there still a skate park in Oswego?
Yeah, new one. There's not. It was Crown, which was the indoor one. Right. They have an outdoor one now that's down on the river.
Because I remember they had a couple. They had one in that building that became the wall climbing place.
That was Red Planet.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a little. I did an overnight there one time when I was real little. I didn't spend the whole night there. But
because I used to remember putting on events there. Actually, way back when I worked as a youth outreach.
Yeah.
Coordinator, and then I forgot about that, and then Crown.
So Bruce had a part of Crown, which he was, I think, the main guy for Red Planet.
He was, yep.
Yeah, and then he had a part in Crown, like he helped build the ramps and stuff, but it was technically through the Y.
That's right.
Then that shut down for a long time, and then now they just have like a public open skate that's not run by anybody. You just go. It's just a public spot.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
Yeah, it's very nice.
But. Well, my man, we've covered a lot of ground, man.
Dude, I could do this all day.
I know.
If I had time, I'd tell you to shut it down. We'll record another one.
I know. I think that would be great. But I do. Go ahead.
I can't remember. Did you release I know you did the first. So, Zach, you and I recorded 2 episodes. Did you release both?
Not yet.
No?
Nope, I'm sitting on that crossover episode. And it's going to. So.
That one's that one may never get released, which is okay, too.
No. It's going to get released. I just. I wanted to build up a core of Vertigo episodes and then release it because I felt like I had a lot that were same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it was you and
that's
me,
why I like doing the solos sometimes too. I know like you don't really like them, but like I've had a lot of guests on. I haven't done solos in a while, and sometimes it's nice to just. It's very therapeutic for me to just sit down and just talk and not to somebody, just talk.
Yeah. No, and I've been thinking about doing a solo here and there. Only so I think I thought about doing a solo to kind of comment back on some past episodes and but I don't know. We'll see what it's wide open right now.
Fuck yeah.
There's so much that can be done. So, yeah, we'll kind of see where it heads. I'm just excited to see where it's going, I guess. And I'm excited to have the support. I'm excited to have guests that, are willing to come in and share their stories. And it's just such a... It's
fun.
It's just so... Yeah, I mean, I don't know what other word to use other than it's like it's just such an experience. It's just such a cool experience.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you coming in, man.
Yeah, for sure.
And I want to plug Maple Talks one more time.
I'll say this. If you like this episode, you may like Maple Talks, but also you may not. That's okay.
Listen,
I know that my podcast and my style isn't for everybody. I cuss. I talk about vulgar shit sometimes. I just talk like I would with whoever I'm with. If I'm with my buddies, I'm going to talk like I am with my buddies.
Yeah.
If I'm with somebody more professional, I'll do that too. So I do this as a hobby. Listens are cool. If it's not your shit, that's all right too.
Yeah, man. No, I think it's cool. I think that...
I just know you have probably a little more of a professional audience than I do.
I think I don't know.
I don't want you to be like, hey, go check out Maple Talks. And it's like, yo, I used to pull out my nuts and show my brains at my belt buckle in school. We thought it was funny. And they're like, the fuck is this? You know what I mean? This is not what he sounded like when he was talking on Vertigo. Yeah.
Which is very true. And I understand that it is different strokes for different folks, and I think that's all right. I think that I have a very good mix of listeners, and so I think that
well, if you like this professional shit, they should check out the Maple Talks with Haley. That's a good one.
That
to
was a
listen
great
to.
episode. Yeah. So Sean absolutely does have incredible guests with incredible stories. So it's definitely, hey, listen, here's the thing. Support the local podcast community. That's the biggest thing. We are a growing community, and there's lots of options out there, and not every flavor is going to be one that you like, but there's a lot out there to explore. So just get out there and explore it, man. So check out Maple Talks. Sure, maybe it's not for you, but maybe it is. And I think that in this day and age, people can, listen to a little vulgarity, and I think they'll be all right. But, but with that being said, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being Vertigo.
I want to finish on one thing.
Yeah, fuck yeah, dude.
If you don't know what it's like to have the freedom of not giving a fuck, you should try it. The feeling of not giving a fuck just sometimes is very freedom feeling. And, everybody needs to, take a day where obviously they have shit. Like, I have kids. I can't not give a fuck completely. But, if they can, take a day where you put away your phone, you put away everything, and just stop giving a fuck about anybody other than yourself for one day, and you will love it. Yeah, and it will be the most free feeling you've ever felt.
No, I think you're right. I think that we do got to get back to a point where it's like, it's okay. Yeah.
It's not selfish to care about yourself.
No, it's not. And that's not to say that you're saying, well, fuck your feelings, because that's not what it is at all. It's saying, I am an important person, and I deserve to have a little bit of time that's mine, and there's no wrong.
And it will feel nice. When you go, when you're not trying to please anybody but yourself, you'll feel a sense of freedom that you've never felt.
No, I agree with that, and I think it is important. And I think that people do need to do a little bit better self-care.
Yeah.
Me included in that, because I am one that will absolutely worry about everybody's feelings and will worry about making sure that everybody's all right, and that's not always necessary.
Yeah, even your significant other. You don't got to piss them off, but you go, listen, today, don't ask me for anything. Let me
do some stuff.
Let me go golf, or let me go sit in the woods.
Yeah.
Let me do what I want to do for a day where I don't have to care about anybody else.
No, and you're right. And I have to say that I'm very fortunate that I have a partner that actually pushes that.
Mary and I both too. I mean, I think that's such an important part of a relationship is I tell her and she tells me, hey, go do something. Get the fuck out. Pushes me out. Get out of here. Go golfing. Go do whatever. Don't worry about the kids. Don't worry about if we really need you. If it's an emergency, we'll call you.
Yeah.
Other than that, don't care about anything other than fucking whatever.
Which we're gonna hit some golf balls this summer.
Every summer. Smack that shit.
Yeah, we gotta get.
Well, you
out
can
there,
do your outro now. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, you didn't. Yeah. I'm not doing an outro. I don't have an official outro. I just say this. I say, Vertigo listeners, thank you for tuning in. And hopefully this podcast, like others, will make your head spin. Thank you for tuning in.
Peace.